Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, where you will find interesting guests and discussions about cutting-edge topics to assist you on your journey. The Quantum Guide Show is ideally suited to the newly awakened and for those who feel isolated by their newfound beliefs. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change that we wish to see in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels, and share this show with your friends. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today in episode 106, I have a new guest, and she's also a podcast host, Nina the Mystic. Nina very kindly invited me to join her on her podcast, and I found that we had much in common, and I know that you're going to enjoy everything she has to say today. So please do go over to her YouTube channel at Nina the Mystic and give her some love. Nina has been into spiritual stuff since 2011 when she started researching her experiences of being spiritually attacked from birth and right up until she was in her 40s. Nina is also a truth seeker who woke up to the corruption and lies from the government back in 2015, and she was scared back into Christianity for almost a year as a result. But then she realized that the church and state are holding hands. She also realized that they wrote the Bible in the first place, and we are seeing the events written about it unfold today. Nina has been doing YouTube podcasts for about 3 years, and she hopes to wake people up both spiritually as well as to alert humanity as to what's really going on. Today, we're going to talk about the mystical playground, Nina's awakening, her podcast, and something that happened to her when she was a child. Nina, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. So I thought maybe we could start by talking about for you to give your experience on what happened from birth to 40. That's a long time to be under attack. And I'm curious, and I know the viewers are too, to know what kind of attack, what kind of beings, what happened, and how did you solve the situation? So let's go back to the beginning on how it all got started for you.
Yeah, so the earliest recollection that I have of being spiritually attacked was around 4, like 3.5, 4, somewhere in that age. And I remember this cold hand that touched my, well, first of all, you're struck by fear. You can't move, as a kid, you're hiding underneath the blanket kind of thing, and just kind of paralyzed with fear. Next thing you know, I feel this extremely cold hand on my stomach. And that's about it that I remember from that encounter. And I remember asking my dad about it, and he didn't know what to say. He kind of had a weird look on his face. He just didn't know what to say. But that's sort of the first time that I can recall something like that happening. It's something other than a dream. It's not like a bad dream or anything like that. It's you're awake when this is happening. So yeah, so I've pretty much had that my whole life. Like I would have these spiritual attack. I've in my whole life until now, was I able to sleep on my back, because they always attack your solar plexus. It's always there, so you got to kind of protect there. So I would, I remember sometimes I would lay down. I just lay down on my back, and he would start. I wouldn't even have even attempted to go to sleep yet. It was like they couldn't even wait until I was asleep, before this was all happening. And, back in those days, we just didn't talk about it. You got up in the morning and just pretend that everything was normal. And yeah, I just never talked about it until sort of one of the last incidences that happened where this thing actually manifested in my room. It was an actual being that was laid down right next to me, almost like in the spooning kind of position, and I always, of course, slept on my side with my hand kind of like up here kind of thing.
Mhm.
And this thing lay down, and it actually put its hand inside my hand. Like,
Wow.
so, yeah, like this a hand, like, and I'm paralyzed, of course, with fear. And so the only thing though that I was able to do as I was laying there, I was able to kind of just reach up with that one finger. And he kind of got the hint, and he kind of went away. But yeah, that was one of the most scariest, I guess, and the most like, wow, it was like this thing was right there. So that's what kind of brought me to okay, I got to figure this out. So I started talking to my friends, asking them if they've had anything like this. No, nobody seemed to have had any of the same kind of thing. And then, of course, the internet. We had the internet back then. So that's what I did. Kids were older, they're teenagers, they're not around anymore. Mom's got lots of time now. And it is definitely time to figure this out, what's going on here. And just started Googling and researching to figure out what's going on. That was my beginning of my journey out of Christianity into, other stuff. So, yeah.
Wow. That's really, really super interesting. So I have a couple questions. One question is, so those beings or experiences, did you feel they were from a malevolent or bad source that they meant you harm? Or did you ever feel that they were benevolent or that they were protecting you?
Well, yeah, it wasn't a positive thing,
Mhm.
being, when there's fear involved, obviously that's, then it's not a good relationship here, if that's how we're starting things off. So no, they
Yeah,
were talking me, but on hindsight looking, if it wasn't for all this attack, I probably wouldn't have woken up. I just wouldn't
yeah,
have researched it. I wouldn't. So this is kind of what they had to do in order for me to kind of snap out of this mundane kind of, I was just so busy being a mom, and you know how it is, you got
oh
all these
yeah,
things going on. So you just don't have time for anything else really. So yeah, that's what it took. Like that, especially that last incident is what it took, and actually to answer the how did I get rid of it,
yeah.
I found laughter.
Hmm.
So, being a Christian and doing that, praying to Jesus just doesn't help. Matter of fact, it kind of makes things worse. So, but laughing and standing in your power, they can't stand it.
Yeah,
So whenever, like, I haven't had an attack now in years, years and years, but even if they try to, after that, just laughing and just, literally pushing them away and just whatever, it just, yeah, they just didn't bother anymore. So, and I think also they've done their deeds. They got me going on what they wanted me to, and then just left me alone. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I totally understand. I got to tell you, it's funny. A lot of what you've experienced, I've had something similar. So when I was a child, I was terrified every single night. So I was lying in my bed and I'd be so terrified. I knew there was something there. I didn't know what it was. And of
Mhm.
course, nobody else experienced what I was experiencing. And this started for me when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And I used to hide under the covers and I couldn't breathe. I was suffocating under there, but there was no way I was going to come out.
Mhm.
And then as I started getting a little bit older, not much older, but probably about 6 years old, the most amazing thing happened. I called out in my mind for something to come and help me because it was so terrifying. And I actually had the appearance visually, I actually could see it of a griffin, a fiery griffin. And at the time, there's no way I knew what a griffin was, right? But I definitely remembered, and it would come and protect me at night so I could sleep. And
Mhm.
as I got older, I also used self-talk, like just telling entities to fuck off and get out of my realm, that I'm
Yeah.
sovereign and this is my realm and they have no business coming in. And I was able to do it that way, which is also very similar to you. So
Mhm.
I find that really, really fascinating because you often hear, oh, call on the name of Jesus, call on, call on God, whatever, whatever. And to be honest with you, that never actually worked for me And I'm sure you have an explanation for that. Do you want to talk a little bit about why
Well, to
that might
me, it
be?
doesn't
And I'm
work
not
because it's,
disrespecting any religion. Please
yeah,
don't take it wrong.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't work because it's a made up fable that we've been, participating in the last 2000 years, so that's why it doesn't work. So, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of people are still caught up in that whole thing. But I do believe with, what's happening in the world and whatnot, people are starting to wake up now
Oh
to
yeah.
all the lies. And unfortunately, religion is one of them. So that's going to be a big one for a lot of people to come to grips with.
Yeah, it
So,
sure is. I really liked how you said that these things that happened to you in your life helped you to wake up and to see that there are other things that maybe other people don't see, that acknowledging your spiritual sensitivities, but also just being aware of what's going on in the world. And I agree. I'm pan spiritual, but I'm not religious. And
mhm,
I was a Jehovah Witness for many years until I woke up and got out of that.
mhm,
And but I have observed the same thing. Politics are coming from the same place
mhm,
as the commercial element, coming from the same place as religion, coming from the same place as politics, and on it goes. It's different faces of the same beast. And
mhm,
I'm actually grateful for my negative experiences, what I would call negative experiences, because they also help me to wake up and to see. And unfortunately, it is a bit of a troubling process, I guess you would call it.
mhm.
Now, I want to, I want to give you a minute to say whatever you want about that. But then I was wondering if we could go back to another experience you had as a child, which I'm understanding was actually a positive experience. If you want to talk a bit about that, but first, the waking up thing. Do you have anything you want to share with the viewers about that?
Yeah, so once I started, going online and studying, researching about what was happening to me, I mean, I started learning. I couldn't get enough. Like I felt like I had to catch up. I'm already in my 40s now, So I started, joining up spiritual development courses that was around locally to me, and just learning all about spirituality and just everything, and I just read books and online course and whatever I could get my hands on. I was doing it, reading books, of course, and just diving in. I just couldn't get enough, to be honest. And then I don't even know how I came across some of these things, but somehow online, when you're online, you're going to come across a lot of things. And I started seeing, truths, and a lot of things that actually is in the Bible. So once you know the Bible and you've read it so many times, which I did, I got more fascinated with the last chapter, with the end times, and we started seeing, all these things that were happening back then in 2015. We had all these blood moons, and everything was lining up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and that's what actually scared me back into Christianity for a hot minute, because yeah, and then but until I realized that, oh wait a minute. They wrote that playbook, right? So it is playing out though. So in one sense, the Christians are right. It is playing out. These things are happening, but you got to remember that 2000 years ago, or actually that is debatable as well as how many years it was, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother rabbit hole that I'm going to go over with my audience in a couple of weeks. But um, back then they had astrologers, right? So they could
Mm-hmm.
see 1,000 years ahead of time. They knew when all these blood moons and all these different events were going to happen, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everything was lined up. So yes, it is happening, but it's not, Jesus is not coming back. Okay, that whole thing is made up, you know.
Um, Nina, I
But
wanted to ask you because I myself, my concept of Christianity has shifted so much, especially in the last 5 years. And I've come to the conclusion that a lot of people are very savior oriented. They think Jesus is going to come save you. Trump's going to come save you. ETs are going to come save you. And it takes all the responsibility off the self to become the change that we want to see in the world. So my concept, I'm pan-spiritual, which means that there's a little bit, I believe, a little bit out of everything. And so my concept of Christ is to become more like the Christ. So what I did was actually bought a Bible that had everything Jesus said in red, and all the black print totally ignored it. Right. And some of the teachings are very profound and very relevant for today, but I never got the sensation that he's going to literally come down and save the whole world, because we have responsibility, like I said, to become the change. And I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts about that. And of course, you and I both, agree. We're not trying to put down religion or spirituality. If your spirituality, whatever it is, doing it for you, I'm never going to, put that down. But there does seem to be an awakening about what this second coming is all about, because once we all, or the majority of us, actually adopt elements of the Christ personality, we can fix everything ourselves. We don't need any external help, right?
Yeah, that's part of the whole lie, right? That's why they putting down in the Bible about astrology or divination and all the things that I do, right? It's all that's they're putting that down because they don't want you to be able to tap into things. They don't want you to rely on yourself. They want you to rely on them, and religion is waiting for Jesus, or other religions are waiting for somebody, right? Or even the New Age really has become a religion in itself. They're waiting now for the UFOs to come and save them, right? So they know humanity very well, okay, and what gets us triggered, and what how we do things and how we think. They know us very well, and so they know that we'll take the easiest route. That's what we're going to do. If somebody's going to come and say, we'll do that. I'll give you 10%. I don't care how much it's going to cost. As long as you save me and get rid of my sins and whatever, we'll do that, right? Instead of actually working on ourselves and doing the right thing, right? That's just, so, and they know that, and they played it all out. They laid it all out. They know we're going to fall for it. Now, in humanity's defense, I got to say, when we go back to Christianity in particular, we weren't convinced in a nice way. We were literally killed if we didn't convert. So there's that, but once we said that we did, then, the rest of the generations just went along with it because grandma did. So then, of course, that's got to be the right thing because, mom and dad did it and grandma did it and so on and so forth, right? But the first Christians, if you will, oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
Phone off. Sorry. I turned my phone off, I swear. Yeah, they didn't believe because they believed. They were forced to. So just remember that too. We've kind of forgotten, and especially Christians. If you bring any of this up, they just nope. They won't even have anything to do with it, right? They don't want to look at the history of their religion, So yeah.
True.
I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
yeah, it did. So
okay.
I thought that was very good. And because the people that are watching this show are people who are either newly awakened or they're awakened and they're just looking for community, because you can't go to the coffee shop and just start talking about this stuff. You can't go to church and talk about this stuff. You can't even talk about this stuff to a lot of people, even over 40. We can't even talk about this stuff. And, none of us like to be socially isolated. And so when I started this show, which interestingly, I started podcasting about 3 years ago myself, and I wanted to create the kind of show that I needed 10 years earlier. Well, the internet wasn't, what it is today, but this is why I created this, so that we could bring at least an introduction to all kinds of free ways of thinking and being, without shame or judgment, that we can come together and share ideas, and more grown-ups. We can do that. We can do this. This is not a show for kids, it's a show for adults. And we can, be open to all kinds of information without worrying or feeling threatened. I don't feel threatened by any of it. In fact, what I did was I gave up my belief systems and I traded them in for working theories. That way, as new information comes in, I can adjust my working theory. And I can change. I can change how I think. I can change how I see things. It's all totally okay. And so that's what I have done. And that's why we have this show. And I'm so glad that you could join us today. But I'm wondering if we can go back again and cover a bit more about what happened to you when you were a child. You had that experience. You weren't sure.
Yes.
When we first talked, you weren't sure if it was ET, angels, what, but that experience was quite different than the entity problem, right?
Yeah, this was a whole different experience. It was when I was about around 7, around that time. And it was just kind of weird because you were 6, 7 too, and you had some, that seems to be a magic. Well, 7 is a magical number. It is we do have 7-year cycles in our, so it doesn't surprise me that I was 7. So I've gone to my first cycle of 7. I was woken up in the middle of the night with this bright light that shone in my window. And I've never seen anything before or since then, that kind of brightness. And I was on the second story house. So there's no way somebody was outside my window with a flashlight and all that kind of stuff. I have a little bit of a video that people can see if you want me to go through the whole little thing. But of course I was spending, the last 40 something years trying to figure out what this is. But there was this light that came in, and the next thing you know, I come to, and I'm on the bottom bunk because I'm on the top bunk bed, bottom bunk. So gotten down from where I was kneeling on the floor, kneeling, on the bed in like a prayer kind of position with my hands, like a prayer kind of thing, with tears coming down my cheeks. And I kind of come to, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what's going on? And I just kind of, just went back up and went back to sleep. Didn't think much about it at the time, but I didn't have any fear. There was no fear associated with it. It was very calm, kind of like I had no idea. But obviously some time had gone past there. Something happened between the lights and when I came to, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Kind of like some missing time, right?
Yeah. I mean, so, one can assume that something came to visit me. Now, was it angelic? Was it ET? I don't know. Well,
but sometimes it's hard to differentiate between ET, angels. I think it's more connected than what we think it is. I don't think it's in distinct categories. But what really hit me when I heard your experience first time was that I really think it was a spiritually positive experience because the tears. So when I have contact with benevolent, loving sources, it just pours. I'm not feeling sad. I'm not crying. Tears just pour down my face. And I counsel people who have had paranormal experiences and they don't know what to make of them. And I always tell people, you go by your inner, how you feel. If you feel you're not afraid, or, if you're feeling a little bit of even ecstasy, or I'm not talking about the drug, I'm just talking about maybe a state of bliss, right? Whatever. And it's up to us to define our own experiences. So people can come to me and say, I had this, and this happened. Is this an ET? Did I have an angelic experience? And I say, that's up to you. You need to sort through it, see how it feels in your body, take it to prayer or meditation or whatever, you're doing, and you will define for yourself what's real and what's not real. No one else can do that for you. So anyway, when I heard your experience, it reminded me very much of an angelic experience I had. And I also throughout my childhood had periods of time where I had missing time. And for me, often it was when I was going to be getting ready to go someplace, and boom, and then boom, it would be 2 hours later, 3 hours later, and I have no idea where I went. I couldn't explain it, So I think there's a lot going on. And the other thing I wanted to touch on too, I wanted to ask you, Nina, do you think that we're special kind of people that we have these experiences, or do you think it's possible for everyone to have these experiences once they open up to them?
Yeah, I don't think, we're anything special. I think everybody is psychic, and I don't like that word psychic, really. It's kind of misused. I don't know. I don't like it. But yeah, we all have the abilities to do it. It's just a matter of, training yourself. It's like anything else, like, exercise. If you want to be a bodybuilder, we can all become a bodybuilder, but it's going to take a lot of time and effort in order to get there, So it's kind of like the same thing, yeah, once you wake up to the whole, the pineal gland, and I remember as a child, to be honest with you, and I cringe when I even say it out loud. They used to give us fluoride pills before we went to bed, chewables. So
Yeah.
after we brushed our teeth, and it's full of sugar. It was a sugary thing that we crunched onto our teeth before we went to bed, full of fluoride. Just my parents didn't know. They were completely asleep, obviously. And yeah, so a lot of these things. So once we start sort of eliminating a lot of these things out of our diet and stuff, get rid of the fluoride and whatnot, that's going to help too, obviously, because that's another thing that they're doing to kind of suppress us. They don't want us to come into our own power and our abilities and our gifts and all of this. That's not going to benefit them. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And from my day, I'm a bit older than you. I'm not trying to make it a pissing contest, but I'm just saying that each era, like for instance, our parents cooked with aluminum pots and pans. Um, all these toxic, this is back in the maybe very early 60s, all these toxic things that they called food that weren't food, pre-sweetened Kool-Aid and Tang, oh yeah, they drank that on the moon, right? Like all the bullshit and advertising agencies, trying to get us to consume all this toxic waste. I even think that the powers that be are using our physical bodies, our livers, to filter toxic waste that they don't know what to do with. So just give it to the humans, right? They won't notice a difference. I don't know what's going on, but it's really, really gross. Now, Nina, I'm wondering, please feel free to add to the conversation any way you want, but I'm also hoping that you can talk a bit about your podcast, how you got started, why you got started, how's it going? Do you want, tell people, and please, viewers, do go over and subscribe to Nina's YouTube channel, because she's got some really good content.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so to be honest, once I woke up there in 15, I started a Facebook group, Truth Seeker. Of course, once you wake up, you want to get on that soapbox and just tell the world about everything that you know. Of course, it doesn't get received very well. You lose a lot of friends and family and whatnot, right? They just think that you're crazy. But had that group going, I thought that was my way to try to help people, so I did that for a while. Then, of course, once the whole Rona situation happened, I knew exactly what was going on and what was about to happen. And everything has happened exactly the way I've said it, which, of course, it kind of pisses people off, some of them, but it's just the way it is. But I also knew to shut down that group, because Facebook, and sure enough, Facebook, like, you can't post anything on Facebook. So I've stopped posting, only personal things that I post on there. I don't post anything like that. But I did then kind of start up with it started out with actually just doing Hump Day, which is my free message from Spirit. So just kind of bringing in the spirituality. I'm thinking I want to help people that way. That's kind of my way of helping. It's a free message every week. So I did kind of attract a lot of the tarot people. Then people are just into that. They're not necessarily awake. So I made a decision, well, I'm going to start another show as well on Sundays called Cindy Live. And that's where I can I call it a variety show because I got a variety of guests and topics, and there's all different things, but I can kind of bring out some of this truth stuff right in there. I'm trying to be gentle about it because it is a lot for people who aren't awake all at once, although it is hard to kind of contain yourself, of course. So yeah, so in one sense, my channel is contradictory because you got your truth and then you got your tarot. So you kind of got two things going on at once. And that's probably why my channel is not growing that fast, because I don't think it's that common for people to be into both. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is now. I do believe that this is going to help people. So even if you stumble, maybe you come for the tarot, but you end up getting red pilled. There you go.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm trying to get the word out there, but of course YouTube as well, the censorship, and you're not allowed to talk about this, and our whole freedom of speech, that's gone. All our rights are gone, guys. Like,
until we get other platforms. See, the problem is Facebook and YouTube is where the people are. So we post there so we can reach the people, and then we get punished. I'm not allowed to share this show on Facebook. If I share this, I can't even share this show to my groups that I started on Facebook. And I'm constantly getting shadow banned and punished by YouTube. Oh, from 4 years ago, a link in the description, and they're digging it up, anything to keep us down. And it's really stressful. So I don't even think the viewers realize how much work goes in to us bringing these messages to the population. Obviously, we love humankind. Obviously, we're putting in our effort. It costs us money to do this. We take social bullshit because of it. We lose family, we lose friends, but what we gain is the true. And we gain people like Nina, you and I. We've never really even met. I was on your show once. This is your first time on my show. We don't really know each other, but look at how much an ocean of material we can talk about because we know exactly what each other's talking about. And so that leads me to another thing, but if you want to keep talking about your channel, please do. But I also understand that you have some services, maybe some products.
Right now is the perfect time to heal your mind, body, and spirit. But for some, it may be more difficult, as there are those that have experienced unexplained phenomenon, such as alien abduction and implantation. Many that have experienced this don't have anyone or anything they can turn to for help. Mainstream medical practices will not acknowledge the presence or treatment of these implants. They can be synthetic, holographic, energetic, or etheric. They can block your energy pathways in order to alter your feelings, behaviors, preferences, and limit your potential. Karen Holton has created the Quantum Health Transformation Program and the Alien Implant Remedy. The Alien Implant Remedy is a proprietary blend of essential oils, crystal frequencies, orgone energy, and guided meditation designed to work together to move energy and dissolve the implants. Due to current conditions, supply is limited, so check them out today. These kits provide the right combination of energetic frequencies specifically designed to disable and dissolve energetic implants that may be holding you back. Karen Holton also offers energy and wellness coaching, ascension workshops, Zendome's orgone generators, and spiritual support. Visit KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com or click the link in the description to find out more and get your alien implant remedy today.
Do you want to tell people about what your offerings are? Because this is how we're able to keep doing what we do. You'll see I've got my beautiful orgone generators that I create behind me, and they're on my website. But this is how we pay to have these shows, to have this information, to have exciting guests. Sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead, take it away,
That's
Nina.
okay. Yeah, so of course, I got a website as well, and yeah, all these things do cost a lot of money. People don't realize how much money and time and effort that goes into doing videos. Honestly, that's why I only do 2, and I just go live because I can't stand the whole editing and all this kind of stuff. I'm too lazy. Like I was talking about humanity earlier. Well, I'm a human too, and I'll do the least resistant route. So I'll just go live twice a week. Do it that way. But yeah, my channel's not growing because I was already shadow banned from Facebook, from all the Facebook group that I had. So Facebook is, yeah, I don't post anything there other than notifications for my show or something like that, but I don't post anything there. And I try to go around some of the words on YouTube, I guess, to try to stay on there. But I am on Odyssey as well, and Rumble, so they automatically get uploaded there. So if you guys prefer those platforms, you can get my stuff there as well. I'm on pretty much everything. Every video that I post, all my links will be in the description of the videos. And of course, I do have a website. I do offer divination, so readings, sessions, whatever you want to call it. Even the word reading now is kind of triggering me a bit. It just kind of puts you in a box. I don't like being in a box. I'm kind of like you call it pan spirituality. Me, I'm more of a eclectic witch, if you want to call it. I just pick up different things. I take what resonates, I leave the rest behind. So I don't want to be in one or the other kind of box. And basically the word witch just means wise woman, is what that means. It's not a scary thing. It's just women usually that are a little bit older. They know about herbs. They know how to make medicines. They know how to heal. Usually they're the midwives. That's where that whole thing comes from. So it's not a scary old lady with the green face and the crooked nose. That's the Hollywood. See, Hollywood and the powers to be, they want to suppress that kind of thing. They don't want women to be smart and people to be consoling women. Women were suppressed a long time ago, right? Just look at religion, how and that's another thing that's coming out. The whole goddess femininity thing is coming back into play now. Mama's coming home, so everybody better watch out. But but yeah, so I do have a website. I do offer readings, and I do have some products there, some jewelry. You can kind of see some of it there. Some jewelry, some crystals, the things that is going to enhance your spirituality, your spiritual walk, generally your life in general. Crystals is a wonderful thing. They're growing naturally in the ground. And again, they don't want you to know about crystals. They don't want you to better yourself that way, right? They want you to rely on them, and especially on the pharmaceuticals. They'd rather you go and spend money on that than to self-heal yourself and stuff like that. So but that's where you and I come in, and I think this is our mission, is to especially right now, because the world literally is waking up. If nothing else, this past 3 years with everything that we went through is wakening people up. So that is good news, and I think that's why we're here. So if you got questions, you're wondering about what's going on, make sure you check out our channels, and feel free to ask questions, email me, or contact me through the social media, however. So yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, and I just want to also impress upon the viewers the importance of sharing our videos, because we can't share them on the social media platforms. Nina, I had my YouTube channel back in, I think I started around 2012. And, it took me 5 years to get 54 subscribers. 5 years. And then you and I have a mutual friend, Augie Nost, who is, you can tell everyone about him, going to be on your show soon too. But he had me on his show to share my extraterrestrial experiences, and then just slowly it's built. And your channel is kind of a sister channel to mine. We're about similar position with subscribers and stuff. And it takes time. It takes a tremendous amount of effort, consistency. And so if you appreciate, what you're hearing on my show, on Nina's show, please share it. It helps more than you will ever know. It helps the algorithms because they want to push to the front the shows that are more popular. But then again, there's that fine line on how much truth we tell. But anyway, we're bravely pressing forward.
I want to just to follow up on that. When I started my channel, the very first video that I did with horrible laptop, like I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have anything. The first video I did got over 5,000 views.
Oh my gosh.
Views. That shows you how YouTube is supposed to work, because YouTube brought it out there, and I hashtagged, and I guess it was a trending topic at the time, but still, that's how YouTube is supposed to work. Ever since then, no. I mean, some of the videos I might get a few hundred views because there's a popular guest that has a lot of viewers or something like that. But other than that, no. YouTube does not show my video in any feed. It's not going to be suggested anywhere. That's what shadow banning means. It just means that we're just right down there. And unless YouTube does that, our channels aren't going anywhere. And we completely rely on you guys liking and sharing the video, honestly, and word of mouth. Tell your friends, hey, you got questions, go and check this out. That really does help, not just us, but generally the people as well, because they're not gonna get our information. They're not gonna wake up because they're not getting it. So so if you're passionate about it, then spread it around so that other people can also wake up and get and have access to it.
So tell us about Augie. You're going to have him, you do a regular thing, once a month with him? Do you want to tell everybody about what you're doing?
So I've had Augie on now. Augie, it's actually how it's pronounced in Norwegian, because he's Norwegian, so am I. I was born and raised there. So Augie Nost, he's been on my channel 2 times, I think, already. And then what I've done is I started a read and discuss kind of show that I'm doing bi-weekly, I think, with Robert V from the Milky Way Soul Tribe. So go and check that out as well. And where we're going through the PDF and reading it and then discussing it, and so that people can learn about his stuff. I have a free PDF on Gilded. So if you guys are interested in getting the free PDF of that, you can. If not, go and buy his book. It's only $23 on Amazon. That way it helps him out. And it's nice to have the hard copy so you can sit there and read it wherever you want to.
It is.
But if that's, finances is an issue, no worries. I do have the free PDF on Gilded. Okay. And he's actually going to be on this Sunday, the 19th. So Robert and Augie is going to be on where the audience can ask questions. So this is going to be really exciting. So really looking forward to that. That book it's got some really good information in there. Highly recommend it. So it's called let's show it.
Spiritual Science.
Spiritual Science. Yes. A lot of good information in here. So
and a lot of different applications of spiritual science, everything from diet to meditation to making contact. It's really great. I'm really glad you're doing that with him. Now, Nina, for those that are listening on an audio podcast, can you tell us again the date that you're going to have Augie on and the time? And while you're at it, say, invoice where people can reach you, both your YouTube and your website. And then, of course, they're going to be in the description below. But some people are just going to be listening to this on the way home from work, or, while they're doing a few Saturday chores, right?
Right. Yeah. So he's going to be on my channel, which is Nina the Mystic. So I'm Nina the Mystic on YouTube and Facebook. Instagram is Nina the Mystic 68. And let's see, my website is ninathemystic.net. So ninathemystic.net is my website. So he's going to be on here Sunday, the 19th. So I do a show every Sunday at 6 o'clock Pacific time zone. That'll be 9 Eastern. Okay. On my channel, YouTube. Most of the sin days are only on YouTube, just because we might be talking about things that Facebook just,
Yeah.
issue with. The only shows that go on Facebook usually is my hump day message. So that's what I call it, hump day message, on every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific time zone. I'll go live on Facebook and YouTube for that one. But most sin days, I'll just keep it on YouTube.
What was your Instagram again? Nina the Mystic, and then something after
68.
that.
Yeah,
68. Just so I can put it in the description below for folks.
Okay, I can send you the links too if you want.
Yeah, any links you want to have on there. I have 2. I have your YouTube and I have your website, but please feel free to, and if you drop them into Messenger, is actually easier for me to
I will do that.
them.
Yeah, no, I'll do that for sure, so you can have it in there. So people like the convenience of just being able to click down there rather than having to go into YouTube, find a video. And of course, all my videos, every single video will have all my links in there, of course. Yeah.
Wonderful. Really, really, really good. So we've got a few more minutes. Oh yeah, if you want to send me your Odyssey and your Rumble, I'll put them in too. And then there's going to be a banner right below you and I, and it's going to have Nina the at Nina the Mystic, and then I'm just going to have Facebook and your website and whatever on there, so that people can actually see it while they're watching the show. But I have to say that quite a few people will be listening to an audio only, so that's why I like to include, the voice of where it is, in case they want to write it down, or just to jog their memory to go into the description to get the information there. So this is going to be streamed out of Spreaker, which is going to go to everything: iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, everything, as well as Odyssey and YouTube and Telegram and Signal, and probably more that my website. Yeah, it'll be everywhere.
Wow, that's awesome.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome that you got so many platforms. That's great.
It's a lot. It's a lot to juggle, but next I want to add, what am I going to add? I have a note here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but I'm going to add Rumble next and start relying heavier on Rumble than on YouTube, and start sharing those links.
Yeah, I've noticed, like, say, Redacted. I don't know if you watch them. They're
I do. That's one of my news
what they're doing now. Yeah, they're streaming on both, and then they'll save the last couple of things they're talking about that they know is going to get triggered. They'll just do that on Rumble, and I think that's great. I'm on there as well. So for those of you who are wanting to just use those platforms, no worries, I am on there. It's really easy once you set it up with Rumble and Odyssey, because it automatically, everything that you upload to YouTube. I was
going to ask you, will Rumble stream from YouTube the way Odyssey does?
Yes, it automatically gets uploaded. So it's so easy,
Okay.
Yeah.
Very happy to know that. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that, I don't have a technical person. I have to hire tech support, and sometimes they don't even know. Like, I have a tech support person I hire who helps me with my website, but they don't know anything about social media. So if there's any of you out there who want to assist, do let us know. Sometimes it's just a quick question, we get hung up, and I didn't know that about Rumble. So I'm really excited. That's the next project I'm going to do, maybe even this afternoon. Now, Nina, before I let you go, please share with us a message from everything you've learned from a very rich and mystical life. I call it the mystical playground, because you've had so many experiences streamed throughout your whole life. What kind of message do you have for humankind? There's a lot of people out there that are just freaking out, losing their shit, and I don't blame them, right? There are a lot of people that are taking stuff in stride, but what kind of key message has been coming through for you that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, that is a good one. I hadn't even thought of that ahead of time here, but a lot of people are waking up, and like you said, a lot of people are very confused, especially once you start waking up to the lies of not just the government, but religion. And when you start going back into history, I'm actually got another guest coming on my show that I'm really excited about, that's going to tie in this whole thing about they've tacked on 1,000 years to our history, and the whole Renaissance was actually a reset. And now we got another so, once you start looking back at history, you can kind of see where we're going. That's the thing. And always follow the money, right? Always follow the money, because that's usually what it comes down to, or the motive of why they're doing things. It always comes down to money, of course, power and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, but at the same time, like, we want to try and be in the balance as well. I do remember when I first woke up, I was like, people will probably look at me as I was going crazy. And in a sense, I was mentally going nuts, and wanting to then tell everybody, right?
Yeah.
Which, it probably doesn't serve us too well, but then again, it's kind of hard not to, right? So, but trying to be in the balance, like, yeah, okay, we're going to be awake, we know what's going on, but at the same time, you don't want to lose grip on reality either. You got to enjoy your life a bit as well. So try not to go off the deep end. You try to take it a little bit, at a time, spoon feed it, really. Because if you try to, like, was it Dolores Cannon said, if you try to give a baby a steak, it's not gonna, babies need to start with milk. You can't expect it to eat a steak right off the bat. That's kind of how it is with humanity and waking up now. Like, take a little bit so that you don't go off the deep end. I do believe a lot of mental illness is stuff like this. Like, they're so awake, but it's to people, it sounds like they're crazy, but really they probably got more grip on reality than the most of us. But so, yeah, you want to be in the balance. You don't want to be stressed out, because stress is like one of the worst things for you, possibly, is being stressed out. So you want to learn, and you want to be there, and you want to, but at the same time, you want to be able to enjoy life. So trying to find a balance, I think, is key pretty much for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier said than done. I mean, I strive for balance every day of my life, but, yeah, it doesn't work out. It doesn't always work out. I was going to say, there's a lot of really exciting also information coming through the alternative media. I don't know if you've seen Paul Anthony Wallace's show, where he shows that it used to be goddess worship. And then it wasn't until like only 600 years before Christ, or however they sort that all out, that they switched. And they switched to a god that was a god of violence and a god of war, so that they could accredit war and violence as being holy acts. Because if that is the nature of the god, then that's a holy act. And boy, that just made so much sense when you look at the history of Templars, and on and on and on and on it goes, right?
Yeah.
That information was not available. The other thing too is about how history is not follow the same time frame. You talked about that earlier. There's so much, actually, in some ways, there's never been a more exciting time to be alive, really. And I ask my guides too. Like, I've gotten really down. The part about the world right now that really gets me down is the whole pedophilia thing, because those are innocents, right? And it really bothers me. And so I'd say to my guides, how long is this bullshit going to go on? Like, why aren't you changing things? Why aren't you offering us some help? And my guides always say the same thing. They say, Karen, this is the only way people are going to wake up, and it's not over till it's over. People have to wake up. And it's not comfortable. I've made quite a few videos about the hero's journey, and the journey of the dark night of the soul. And I had to go through a hell of a lot of that. I don't know about you, Nina, but I had to go through a hell of a lot of that to get myself sorted out. I kept saying to myself, Karen, you got yourself into this position. You can get yourself out. Just keep working at it, keep working at it. And it never ends. And all my friends are working on it all the time too. So I have really quite a lovely, lovely community. So I guess my message to everyone is to hang in there. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And one last thing before I let you go, Nina, is lifestyle. Did your lifestyle change? I had to change everything, what I ate, the shampoo I used, the people I hung out with. And I'm wondering if any of that was true for you.
Yes and no. I kind of started to, a bit. And, especially like, so yeah, like fluoride. Yeah, that's got to go. Like,
Yeah.
like we can go a little overboard, I think, on some of that kind of stuff right now, because a lot of these natural things, very expensive.
Mm.
So, a lot of us can't afford to be buying all of this natural, blah, blah, blah. So, when the Rona thing happened, I kind of like, you know what, screw all that. We're going back to bleach. We're going back to, just back to some of the, the other stuff that I had kind of stopped using, to be honest. Now I'm kind of like both. I'm trying to be budget friendly, but at the same time, yeah, I won't compromise on fluoride. No, so no fluoride in the oral, care that you're doing. And that is definitely number one. Now, and I don't use perfumes and stuff like that that we used to. We used to be heavy on those scent. Yeah, stop that. So a lot of things, yes, but some things I had to like. Okay, well, I just can't afford some of the things. I just gonna have to, I've lived this long. I've been through how many, chemicals and whatnot, chances are I'm probably going to be around for a little bit longer. So I've tried to kind of tone down a little bit on that, to be honest, because it can get a little too much. But yeah, there's certain things that you don't want to compromise. Same with don't drink tap water. Make sure that you're filtering your water. So there's certain things that I just won't compromise on, but some things I've kind of eased up a little bit just for budget reasons and availability. And then also then start looking into making your own. That's another thing that I got into is, okay, well, maybe we can't afford to buy that expensive natural cream, but maybe I can make my own. And at least then I know what's going in there. Same with cooking. Maybe we should stop buying all these processed things and start cooking for ourselves. But then again, when you're working and you got kids, who has time for all of that, right? So I was guilty of all of that myself when I was raising my children. So now I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious. Maybe I'm start cooking because I got more time now. I have the time to cook now. There's no excuse anymore, right? So yes, I am, but not to the extent of some people that just, like, I just can't afford it and I just don't have the time. So
Right. Fair enough.
You gotta pick your battles, right? So
Yeah, you do. It's true.
And then for those of you who are just starting out, don't go overboard. Again, it can be too, because you're just gonna go, it's too overwhelming, just change one thing at a time. Don't try to change everything, because I know I've done that too, where you purge. All of a sudden, I purged all my nail polishes. I got none left now. And then it comes a day we're like, oh man, I wish I had that color now. I would like, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes we go a little overboard. We'll take all our cleaning stuff, like everything is gone. And then a couple of weeks down the road, we're like, oh man, I wish I had that again, or something. So don't go and throw everything out. Just trying to make small changes, but when it comes to drinking water and fluoride, yes, definitely. That is definitely two things that you want to change right away, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier about balance, and also your life has to be sustainable. So I've moved into what I call an engineered life, where I've engineered my time and my days so that I have a sustainable lifestyle. But I get very easily overwhelmed. And if I'm trying to be perfect, and what the hell does that mean anyway? Then, the stress kind of counterbalances the good that I'm trying to do. So I think those are really, really wise things to say. Yeah. So that's about all the time we have today, Nina. I really appreciate you coming on the Quantum Guide Show. I'm thrilled to have gotten to meet you and have you as part of my community, as kind of a kindred spirit, and it's absolutely wonderful. Look forward to, I guess you said on the 26th, the episode where I'm on your show comes out.
That's right. Yeah. So we did an episode. Now, unfortunately, we got cut off in my internet or something. I don't know what happened there, but Karen got kind of cut off, but we did get like 58 minutes in. So we got an hour.
We did good.
And that will be coming out on my channel on the 26th of February here. So make sure, go and subscribe to Nina the Mystic on YouTube, and you'll see Karen on the 26th.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Nina. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Quantum Guide Show. Thank you to all our viewers for joining us. And in advance, I want to thank you for subscribing and for sharing this show with your family and your friends. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels. Like this video and share it with your friends. You can also find the Quantum Guide Show and my other podcast called Aliens and Astrology on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. That's www.forbiddenknowledge.news. And while you're at it, check out my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com, where you will find some amazing products and services and an abundance of free resources to help you with your journey. All of the links are in the description below. And in the meantime, until we see you next week, keep up the good work.
Surrender into endlessness, puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play. It's okay. It's okay.